Hi, metalheads, and welcome back to Metal Academix. We're here for a treat, and the treat's name is...
Hammerfall, one of the titans of metal.
Hammerfall, my goodness, this is probably, again, it's hard to pick, but one of the best metal bands from Scandinavia in the history of metal bands from Scandinavia, and a natural name to pick, but wow, what are we going to listen to? I think this is my question. There's so many options.
There are. So Hammerfall for me was kind of a gateway into metal.
Okay.
Coming from Metallica, Iron Maiden, Hammerfall was kind of the pivot point into some of the more, bands of slaying dragons and things along those lines. So yeah, the question is, what shall we hear? And personally, I don't know about you. I think most viewers will know of Hammerfall, and I don't know if they agree or not, but I happen to like the first 4 albums. This is a recurring theme.
Again, the early albums. The
early albums are just pure gold. And we've seen Hammerfall move towards a more progressive sound that I'm not super into, but what I want to highlight is some of their earlier music that I think you may be familiar with, but maybe not. We'll see.
So they have kind of a personal history for you. These early songs, they also kind of look early at your history in listening to this kind of music.
Definitely. And I think one of the reasons is because I was listening to it a lot in high school.
Oh, this is like way back.
Way back. Preparing for wrestling matches, getting hyped up. And I don't have, unfortunately, the name of the guy in front of me. But what I really liked about Hammerfall was their cover art. And the person who's done that cover art, I had to pull it up real quick. It's a Samwise Didier, if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. He is one of the senior artists at Blizzard Entertainment, who does a lot of the World of Warcraft stuff.
Yes. So that's the aesthetics.
Exactly. Yeah. So young me getting into metal, doing a lot of weightlifting and training. I really liked the big knights with the hammers. So all of it kind of really fit, but also the music as well. I think for me, the highlight of this band is the guitarist, Oscar Droniak. This guy, he writes some of the greatest guitar solos, I think, in the genre.
Yeah.
And so some of the songs that I've chosen are going to highlight that. So let's start with the first, which don't leave this video until you see the second video, because that's one I've made, and I'm proud of that one. That one's cool.
But
this one is going to be Riders on the Storm. And
I love Riders. In a previous episode, this is one of my common themes. So yes, this is a good song, and I like the name.
And that comes from the album Crimson Thunder, and this video comes from their DVD One Crimson Night, where they played at their hometown of Gothenburg. I guess some sort of coming home to play for the home crowd. And the reason I'm playing it first is because it's the first song of the concert. And we get to see a little bit of them live, but also it's kind of a cheat because there's 2 songs in this one. The intro is Lore of the Arcane, which actually comes off, I want to say, Renegade. It's the lead into the song Trailblazers, but instead they use it here to open up for Riders on the Storm. Great song. I have no idea what they're singing about. Something about Genesis and some
again, lyrics
crazy,
not always our forte.
But an awesome guitar solo, and I think it's cool to see the band, I think, in their heyday live.
And which year was this?
Oh, good question. 2000 and...
I'm
just running through Spotify right now to check it out.
Crimson Thunder.
2003 was the release of this
album.
CD, DVD, kind of a live DVD. Sound quality is great. It's obviously not the studio version, but we do get to see a guy in with the hammer.
Live action.
Smashing things, kick things off. I think the band has gone through a few lineups since then, but I thought this is a perfect intro video to start with to Hammerfall.
Riders. I love anything with Riders.
of the Storm, not to be confused with the Doors. Let's kick it off.
Yes.
So this is Lore of the Arcane.
the pre-song.
I would love to be that guy.
Yeah. Boom. Boom. Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Sight a brand new horizon, descending from the heart, so cold to see. The
Awesome. Great solo.
Very nice.
Great
So
solo.
good guitar.
I saw them live not too long ago in Copenhagen. And I was front row. Pumped about that. And there's this guy Oscar, the guitarist, who's playing. He has this awesome guitar that is a hammer. What you
I've
was
never
on the
seen
video.
him live.
It's super cool. And he was playing, and then the lights in the back were just kind of revolving as a guitar solo. And I was just like, oh, star power.
Hypnotized.
And then I posted on Instagram, and he liked it.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Nice.
That was one of the highlights of my life. No, but
Maybe they'll like this review.
Because yeah, these solos are sort of what I love this band for, and what I listened a lot back in the day. Now
They still have staying power. I mean,
They
back
do.
in the day or now,
they
same.
do. Now, that said, one of the things is because they're producing so much more new music, when you see them live, they play a lot of their newer music. And one thing that I would be a little bit critical of is they take a lot of their good songs and they put them into a medley. I don't know what they call it. They call it like metal medley or something.
Okay.
And so,
So all of them together in one big piece.
so the songs that I would like to hear
A potpourri.
fully out, a potpourri, exactly, are they'll play like the riffs for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and they'll jump to the next, and the next, and the next. And one of those songs that has been put
Chopped.
into that group is When the Dragon Lies Bleeding.
Oh,
which I think
my God,
has-
it's like a typical, like one of the most connected to Hammerfall.
Yes. First song off their first album, Glory to the Brave, from 99, I want to say.
Jeez, my God.
And that has
Are we nostalgic?
just one of the just the most amazing guitar solo, and it's so good. But there's no video,
yeah, I know.
online that would accompany it. So I made a video for it. I put a lot of effort into this video.
I'm so curious to see it.
Bit of Game of Thrones. Where else do you find dragons? And in the video, this guy Oscar, he wears a Winter is Coming t-shirt. So I think he's a fan. He's watching. I think he'll enjoy the video. But let's play that.
I'm
And
so curious.
as good as this song is, it's golden for the middle part. So
That's your favorite
you kind
bit?
of wait a little bit till it picks up, and then it's just like one of the best minutes, I think, in all of metal.
Oh, right.
So-
I want to see the video.
Yeah.
I know the song, but the video? That's what I'm so curious to
right.
see.
So
There we go.
the dragon,
The dragon.
lies bleeding.
I see a dragon.
Run through the valley in thunder and rain. The battle is
killed the dragon.
Wow.
They killed the dragon.
What a video. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
So good.
I
So
think
well timed.
It's got all the elements. It's got Knights Templar and steel and
dragons.
dragons, of course.
And dragons who lay bleeding.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect match.
But
I love
my
it.
favorite Hammerfall song, definitely. Dragon Lies Bleeding, because of that, when it kicks in.
The riding.
Yeah, it's awesome. Lots of time in the gym spent with that song. So that is my two, but
Again,
you as a Hammerfall fan,
I love them in general. You know that we talked about this, you guys, before deciding what's the lineup, and I said Hammerfall. You're gonna tell. We don't always inform, but this one was an obvious choice. And then I said, "Can I have one?" And Michael said, "Shoot!" And then we agreed that this is
there's so many to pick. There's so many to pick from.
Not so exactly. It's hard to decide, and I think this is a good one
So
for both
reveal
of
it.
us. I don't remember right now exactly. That's
Heeding the call.
I don't unless I have it written down. I'm like a blank slate.
So the
I
third
can't
song
remember even my own name.
is Heeding the Call. I also have to check. This is from Legacy of Kings. Definitely one of the best full albums. I like the Dragon Lies Bleeding, but I think Legacy of Kings and Crimson Thunder, man, those are close. But I think Legacy of Kings is my favorite overall.
This is also the one that
Hammerfall
I know
album.
best.
I love Dreamland. I love At the End of the Rainbow, Stronger Than All, back to back.
And Let
Pretty
the
Maids
Hammer
cover.
Fall is their anthem.
Not into that one, unfortunately.
Again, is like their anthem. I think
Yeah.
this is what when people think about Hammerfall, they think about
Yeah.
Let the Hammer Fall.
But again, it's funny because I was listening to them. I
Way
just
back
assumed they were
when, yeah.
American because they were singing in English, and
It's a compliment.
I don't think that I really picked up on what the popular songs were because when I'm looking at the set list or the track
Yeah.
list, I listen to those that maybe are not the. But anyways, Heeding the Call.
Heeding Call, which is the opening song, but again, I think Let the Hammer Fall was my entry into Hammerfall.
Okay.
This is probably the first song I
Makes sense.
knew of.
Makes sense. I have
So-
no idea what mine was. But Heeding the Call, this video it's taken from a live
Recording.
DVD.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact background behind it, but it's an interesting kind of format where they're playing and there's a huge kind of moat between them and the audience. And
Really?
what I would
moat?
yeah, a moat. What I would highlight for this video, what I think is funny about it, is the
Moat.
crowd. It's got to be in Sweden,
Yeah.
and the crowd is very Swedish in how they react. So watch that. So this is
Now I'm curious, will they attempt to cross the moat?
no, they don't test across the moat, but it's interesting. I mean, I guess when you're a big shot metal band, you can kind of
Do that.
play with these different
Yeah.
formats. So this is the video from the live song, but I've put in the studio track. So this is what we hear off the album.
All right, finally. Yeah, again, I'm sorry, I never remember these things. This is why you always see me whenever it's my turn. I have like a ton of notes. I have my little notebook always with me because without it, I'm like, who am I? Who are you? Have I seen you before?
All right, Heeding the Call. And watch the crowd.
A flash in the night, a journey through time. The Templars are back on the streets, guarded by crowds and the will to survive, all led by the guiding light. Angels of mercy, guardians of time. Fill up the chivalry, the lifeblood that we all need. Heeding the call, one and for all. Never surrender, with glory we fall. Brothers unite, let's stand up and fight. Fulfilling our fate, we are heeding the call. Heeding the call, one for all. Never surrender, with glory we fall. Brothers unite, let's stand up and fight. Fulfilling our fate, we are heeding the call. Heeding the call, one and for all. Never surrender, with glory we fall. Brothers unite, let's stand up and fight. Fulfilling our fate, we are heeding the call.
So that's about the most excitement you're ever going to get out of Swedish people.
I'm not sure. You know what? A part of me says that probably you're right, but they could be Germans.
They could be. I'm assuming it's in Sweden, and this
It's
would very
it's
much fit,
some quarry. It's a former quarry by the looks of it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't resonate with me. I have no idea. I cannot identify this. So maybe
But
you can.
it's just funny.
People sit down at a metal concert.
I mean, to be fair, I know we differ on this point. This
Yeah.
is my kind of concert. I would just be kicking back with a beer, just listening to music. Would
No,
you like to
I'm
be up there?
definitely there in the front row.
I just thought it was kind of a funny, funny
Yes.
crowd. They get into it, of course, but
In their own way.
in their own way. Very special.
Very different kind of public, you know, older people, younger people.
Yeah, we gotta pay for the
Yeah.
the tickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, such a good song though. The guitars,
I'm telling
so good.
This guy,
Oscar?
Oscar.
Yeah.
He's got it. I'm just gonna put up the picture of the guitar that he's got. I'll try to find a
Yeah,
picture. And
it's gonna be
it's so
behind
cool.
us right
It's so
there.
cool, and when you see it live, and he's just like he rocks, man. He rocks. Oh, of course, the band
Yeah, as
in
a
total
whole,
is good. But
I think they're awesome together, and they've been around for some time.
and
let's
really
put it so.
define. You know, they talk about Gothenburg metal. I think
Yeah.
Hammerfall really.
I think they're the first ones to really get famous, and so many others after
Which
them.
is interestingly different from our last video, Amon Amarth, which
Yes.
is more Stockholm
So
underground scene. So within Sweden, because there's so many metal bands, there are
Yes.
different styles based on the different regions of the country, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think they have the tradition, but I think in general, one would say that Gothenburg is probably the most heavy metal oriented city in Sweden. But again, we talked also before about Falun, where there are two very big bands, Twilight Force and Sabaton coming from, and so on and so forth, right? So it could be even a smaller place, but definitely Stockholm and Gothenburg are the two centers of two different styles,
Definitely.
of music. But I really liked Hammerfall. I loved your video. Yeah.
Yeah. Took a lot of time. I can't promise more of those. But
So nice.
the song
Well
is commensurate.
done.
I will actually, in a future video,
Yeah.
make a song for another, or a video for another song that I really like.
You have plans.
I have plans.
So watch out. Watch this
a little bit
space.
medium tier. So I think last episode was Alana Martha's Hammerfall. These are obviously big bands. You probably heard the songs. You probably know the bands. Hopefully.
But again, if you want to comment and criticize our choices, I know that we're very welcome, and we always are very interested in hearing your suggestions. If you want us to cover any band, or again, some other songs from the bands we already covered, just leave us a note anywhere on social media, Metal Academics, pretty much anywhere. And we'll be very keen on listening to your opinions and taking them on board on future episodes as we record and discuss and select.
Yeah,
So
we've got a few suggestions already, so thank y'all who have submitted. We're going to put out a couple more of our favorites before we get into the fan videos or the fan suggestions. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for those that have, and until next time.
may your sword stay sharp.
In your quests and in glory.